Hi, I'm Sam, Flying Kite, and this is week 0 of my horror movie reviewing. And today, week 0, will be the first of 5. At least, not like just a for now thing, this is the beginning. I'll be doing the Insidious franchise, so of course, naturally, week 0, the first movie I'm doing is Insidious. See, I did this movie last week as my last review for Body Bags, and I wanted to use Insidious as a bridge from what I was doing to what I will be doing. And I'm not going to go crazy detalic on this because I also want to kind of go about the my rules on like my ranking, right? And at least for Insidious, this first one anyway, I'm not going to go crazy in depth with like certain things. But onward I will, because I have already reviewed this. In which case, it's summed up will be in this video. If you want to check out the original review, it's over on Body Bags, which the channel link will be in the description. Assuming the channel should still be there, unless I, just like, oh, oopsie. I'll have the link there, and you find that if you want to hear that, which would have been, I guess, a week or two ago. My thoughts have not really changed, so, unless you want to see me reviewing a car, then, a bit different, I suppose. As I said, I'm reviewing Insidious. It was directed by James Wan. Patrick Wilson stars as Josh Lambert, the father of the movie. Rose Byrne plays Renee, the mom. Ty Simpkins plays Dalton Lambert, the main son, and Lin Shaye plays Elise Rainier, who plays this, not really psychic character, but this character that understands what's going on with the family, that being the synopsis. A family looks to prevent evil spirits from trapping their comatose child in a realm called the Further, and Lin Shaye's character, Elise, knows all about the Further. Also, this is going to be the only time I have a drink. I'm going to not do that onward. I just had a drink opened. So the main thing that I'm going to go about is I'm going to talk about IMDb's grade. And maybe onward specific have like, on IMDb there's the individual like user reviews, and there's like 1s and 10s out of 10s, 1 out of 10s or 10s out of 10s. I'm not going to go in depth about like what people really thought as like a 1 out of 10 or like a 10 out of 10, but I think it'd be self-explanatory if someone thought this movie was a 1 out of 10, what they thought, and vice versa. But overall, almost 350,000 people voted in IMDb, and altogether thought it was a 6.8 out of 10. So how I'm going to go about my ranking is there's going to be 7 pillars. Sorry. There's story, which is self-explanatory. The story of the movie, get it from A to B to C. If it's all, if it makes sense, or at the very least, if it's entertaining in the sense of it's making you curious or it's entertaining you. The second is music, which is also self-explanatory. The third is morals, or morale, I guess more morals, which would be either the moral of the story or the good versus evil, at least in my opinion. If good overcomes evil, then it's like, yes, that's like it's going to be a higher, although my bias, it's going to be a little specific. Cheese, which would be like cheesy, cringe kind of moments that may not necessarily feel right, but at least to a degree, it's like, that's just so cringy, so cheesy, and maybe even silly to a degree. I'm not really sure if I was going to have that be a negative kind of thing. I did not do it as for Insidious, although if I did, it wouldn't have really changed the movie that much. So I think I'll just leave it as a positive thing because, you watch a movie with, if it's cheesy, then, it could be fun. But, if there's no cheese, it's not the worst thing ever. If there is cheese, it's also not the worst thing ever, unless it's, like, really bad. Like, cheese would imply that, like, it's so bad it's funny or it's good. But, like, a legitimate bad movie, it's just, like, it's cheesy, but it's really bad. So it's like, if it's that, then it's like, then I'll probably do negative. Gold, which would be great moments or scenes. I suppose it serves very similarly to cheese, although I would say it's also kind of the opposite. It's, you know, yin and yang, where cheese, it's like specifically funny, but gold would be like really good moments, whether it makes you, whatever it makes you feel, I guess. But it's like, it's specifically great moments or scenes that are just iconic or legendary, right? And then the last two is humanity and ending. Ending is self-explanatory, if it's a good ending, if it's a bad ending, or if it's a mid-ending. And humanity is if you feel good, bad, mad, sad, dependent, and respectful to or towards the characters, if you relate to them, if you like, if you could put yourself in their situation and feel the same way, or you understand why they're sad when something bad happened, or I don't know, it's like it's that kind of thing. So I said, I think the story is an 8 out of 10. That being, this family moves into a new house and their child finds himself in a coma, although he did fall off this ladder, and then the next day when everyone wakes up, he doesn't. He's in a coma. And weird things, supernatural things start happening around the house. And I'm not gonna like go and spoil, but you know, I really like what the story goes about and does when it comes to that. And then when you start understanding what is happening, and then some of the plot twists that are inside the story, I guess, spoiler for example, Josh Lambert finding out that he actually had the ability to travel to the further when he was younger, but there was a cost to it. That being, there was a ghost that was there's a dead person that was haunting him, and wanted to do wanted to get inside of him, so that the ghost could feel alive, be alive, I suppose, again. And so they had Josh forget about it when he was a child. And it's just when he's older and he realizes that, it's like, that's a pretty good plot. I liked it. I thought that was pretty good. The music, I said, is a 7. And it's 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10. I said it was a 7 out of 10. Music is really good. But I suppose if I had a problem with it, the music isn't really music. It's more of like, it's kind of like music, but it's also not like, I don't know, it's odd, but it fits with what the movie is trying to go for. It's not like something you're gonna listen to when you go to the gym, unless you're goth. Then I suppose it makes sense. But for morals, I said 7.5 out of 10, because there is a good and there is a bad. Although I suppose my bias coming in, I would more have to say that there is an ultimate good, but they don't go and use that ultimate good. They go and use a different path, which I would say is like, hey, you're probably making a mistake. And then the ending is just great, because my thought process is, if you don't use the ultimate good and you're just using an alternative method, it's not going to fix the problem. It could make it worse, or just put a band-aid on it. And not going to spoil it right away, but that's what happens. Cheese was a 1. There's nothing really cheesy in this movie, unless, like, I don't know, unless you're really drunk, I imagine, or high, and you're watching and you're like, why is that stupid stuff happening? For gold, I said 8, because there's a lot of really good moments in this movie. I suppose specifically the ending I thought was a really, like, whoa, good kind of moment. I suppose not really good, but like a whoa, you're not going to forget about it. It's pretty iconic. A lot of shots are really, really good. Humanity is a 9, because middle of the movie, the mom, Renee, is starting to kind of like lose it, because all these weird things are happening, and there's like, it feels really nihilistic in the idea of it's gonna keep happening, and there's nothing that they can do to fix it, kind of thing. And it's just like it's kind of depressing. They're really sad, or she is anyway. And it's like that's tough. That's like it's really hard to like go through that, being strong, I suppose. Still, if all by yourself, yes, it'd be really strong. You go through something like this, it's really difficult to go through it alone and independently, because in the movie she's basically home alone the entire time, because the dad works as a teacher and he's never really there. So it's like you start really connecting like that. I thought he did a pretty good job with that. And then the ending. So the spoiler time, don't care. The ending. So Lin Shaye, Ellis, and Josh's mom tell Josh about his childhood, about the further, about his ability to go there. So the plan is he goes into the further and find and get Dalton, the son, and bring him back. And the ending is him in there. He finds Dalton. They're able to escape the lipstick demon, which is the monster, which is the demon or ghost that's trying to take Dalton, take his body. And they are both able to get back, except the plot twist is that Josh didn't come back. The ghost that haunted Josh as a child came back and kills Elise. And I thought that was just a really good scene. And then the very ending, like the last shot, is like I wonder how this is gonna, if they make a sequel, I wonder what they're gonna do next, because it's like whoa, that's crazy, really crazy. In which they made a sequel that came out about 3 years later, in which that will be next week's review. So I added all of that up, all the numbers, and I got 7.1 out of 10. So I thought this movie was better than the average viewer thought this movie was. In which case, it's whatever. It's just my thought. It's always interesting to see how like you think of a movie, and then you go on IMDb and see what like the mean is, or see what like if you really like a movie, what the 1s out of 10s are. If you really hate a movie, what the 10s out of 10 are. Because it's like it's really interesting. Like, for example, there's people that hate the original 82 thing. 1 out of 10. And it's like, how? That's a great movie. But they think otherwise. So it's always interesting to try to understand their point of view, and maybe even try to understand why, Maybe you will find out why if you read a bit and then maybe connect a few things. But anyway, I'm Sam. This is week 0 of my reviewing. I'm not really sure what I'm going to call it yet. But yeah, next week will be Insidious 2. And I think I want to try to do not just do franchises, but at least as like the Wednesdays, they're franchises, but maybe every random once in a while, like on some random Friday or Monday, some random solo movie gets reviewed, like reviewing The Thing, or reviewing Late Night with the Devil kind of thing. But like franchises, like 5 or more movies. So like franchises like Insidious, The Conjuring, to a degree The Conjuring, Phantasm, Halloween, Friday the 13th, that kind of stuff. Because, I do that. That'll last like the whole year. Or should, anyway. But yeah, I will see y'all next week. Goodbye.